As a freelance creative, I've made some mistakes that were really painful. They taught me the things that I would never do again the hard way. In the same way, I scored some wins by just putting in the work. I incorporated the process of how I got there as essential parts into my workflow. This is the power of principles. Fundamental truths that serve as the foundation of our behavior. One of the reasons of why I like education so much is that we can take proven principles without going for the failures and setbacks ourselves and directly apply them into our own work. The most proven and time-tested book of all time is the Bible, and there are so many intersections between Christianity, creativity, as well as business. So today I want to share with you some biblical principles that will help you make the right decisions and guide you through your creative work. And let me tell you, I regret not knowing these sooner. Before we go into it, I want to clarify I'm not a pastor or theologian of any kind. I'm just a Christian who is a video producer, and I'm sharing some principles that have helped me in order to maybe spark some thoughts inside of you. And if anything in here resonates with you, please pick up a Bible, watch some sermons explaining the Bible, and start growing yourself. Principle number 1, start with discipline. Whoever loves discipline loves knowledge, but he who hates reproof is stupid. Discipline or self-control is the one skill that helps me with everything, no matter if it's my creative work, my business, or my personal life. Discipline is about making room for what's important, no matter the inner or outer circumstances. And it gives me strength and security and stability in the long run. You know, I love my work, but I have often dreaded tasks I wasn't good at or I didn't enjoy doing. For me, it's been bookkeeping or writing or doing phone calls. Sticking to doing a certain task for 30 minutes to an hour a day really helped me break through that barrier and keep focusing on what is important. Things get done, which in turn makes any task so rewarding. Principle number 2, think long term. For what will profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what shall a man give in return for his soul? As creatives, we should set aside any desire to get a specific thing from our actions, because that's basically what being a sellout is, right? Destroying, leaving behind your most important personal values in order to gain short-term gratification back to yourself. If we get hired by a client, of course we are here to serve them, but they also hired us for a reason, and that is that we can do something in a way they can do themselves. And this is exactly where selflessness inside of creativity is needed. Even with I know there are some straightforward, boring client jobs, but even then I ask myself, how can I use my abilities to uplift other people and bring more light into the world? I know that my God-given skills are here for more than just gain me status and money, even if you get these things, which you can if you're really good at what you do. Don't abuse yourself for them. Principle number 3, balance craft and creativity. Sing to him a new song, play skillfully, and shout for joy. How we create matters. I really want to point out the 3 factors presented here, which are innovation, joy, and skill. And for me, these aren't isolated attributes. They are meant to be present all of the time. And this is such a great mindset to have at the start of a new project. Let me do everything to the best of my abilities, make sure I always come from a place of joy, and focus on creating something that wasn't there before. Principle number 4, put others first. Anyone who has been stealing must steal no longer, but must work doing something useful with their own hands, that they may have something to share with those in need. Writer's block for me is basically not knowing what I want to create, and it becomes much easier if I think about what I might already have to share with others. You see, in one situation, I'm assuming I have to produce something out of thin air for my own enjoyment. In the other, I'm just focused on what I already know I can do. Some people call this making use of your unfair advantages, and I think you can only get there by knowing yourself and understanding what is happening around you. For me, a creative idea only becomes real if I can turn it into something presentable, because the way I present something actually changes the thing itself in a good way. Principle number 5, embrace what is different. After this, I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb. They were wearing white robes and were holding palm branches in their hands. Way before Apple told us to think different, the Bible actually told us thinking different is not something we should exercise in order to achieve, but this is something we are already doing and that we should rediscover and embrace. Our cultural differences matter when it comes to our creative work. I'm aware that my cultural heritage is not the most important thing, because it becomes self-destructive and useless if I make it my sole focus and the reason why my uniqueness makes me more special than somebody else, which is not true. The places I come from have fundamentally shaped my perspective, and this perspective is one of my assets that I always bring to the table. Principle number 6, never stop educating yourself. He has filled him with the Spirit of God, with wisdom, with understanding, with knowledge, and all kinds of skills to make artistic designs for working gold, silver, and bronze, to cut and set stones, to work in wood, and to engage in all kinds of artistic crafts. It's so important for me to never stop educating myself on new things and re-educate myself on the basics, because the knowledge and wisdom I have is basically what I always fall back on. Because if I'm only educated to do certain things one way, I always do them in the same way. That's why I've been creating content for over 10 years, but I still keep optimizing my process. In my field, which is content marketing, we are moving into an era where it is demanded for you to be an all-rounder as well as an expert. The Bible tells us you can be good in one thing, but that doesn't exclude you from being good in something else. I always love public speaking, telling stories, and creating images, while my main business is that of creating videos for clients. I started this YouTube channel here as an outlet that combines all of my skills and interests. Principle number 7, put your real talents to use. Parable of the talents. This is quite long, so retold in my own words, this parable is about a rich man who delegates the management of his wealth to his servants. He gives some of them more resources, but to one servant he gives only little. While the ones with a lot put the resources to work and multiply them, the one who has little hides it to be safe and in turn earns nothing. In the end, the rich man rewards the ones who made more and punishes the one who did nothing. What stands out here is that talent in biblical times was a certain amount of money. Talent, of course, nowadays means our God-given gifts. So talents not only have a strictly commercial value, they also are divine. Everybody has talents, and some people compare theirs to others and use this as an excuse not to act on them. I get it. I've also been scared so many times of doing a certain project or going out with a certain idea because I was afraid of not being as good as the best in that field. But being the best doesn't determine the value of a certain thing. The value comes from the uniqueness of your talents combined with the effort and work you put into them. That's what the Bible shows us. By not acting on our talents and not putting in the work, what you are actually doing is making the world and the people around you miss out on everything that you could offer them. Principle number 8, whatever you do it right. Whatever your hand finds to do, do it with all your might. There are times where output is all that counts, but in the long run, it's the work that goes into the output that matters the most. I can't predict how many views this YouTube video will get, or certainly if the client loves the project I did for them. The judgment of my work is outside of my hands. What is in my control is my work, and I regularly make sure to make that my definition of success. Doing my very best all the time is the best I can do, and through Christ I learned that this is enough. Nowadays a lot of young people talk about hard work and hustling like it's a bad toxic thing, and yes, self-serving work that is there to please you and give you more money and status can be destructive. But I believe that working hard on serving others is actually one of the most important and meaningful things I could do with my time here on earth. So these are 8 biblical principles. I hope these spark some thoughts. Let me know if you want to hear more biblical principles on filmmaking, storytelling, and content creation. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and I hope to have you back for the next one.